Yes, it is. It's totally. Oh, hey,
hey.
everybody. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
All right, yeah.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Unreal Engine Twitch live stream. I am back from leave. Thank you, Alexander, for handling everything while I've been away. You and Dana really,
You're very
really
welcome.
killed it. So
Hold your applause.
Sorry, everybody. If I look extra tired today, it's because, well, I am. Hooray, new babies. Anyway, on to it. So we're here with Alex. We've got Seth, Killian, and Brock Feldman on the Skype on the couch here. Ta-da! It's really awesome that they could actually digitally sit on our couch. Thank you again, Shelly, for being awesome. So they're with Radiant Entertainment, who's building a fantastic game called Rising Thunder. It's a new fighting game. It looks beautiful. It was announced at EVO this week, so we'll hop into that here in a second, right after the news. Shelly, if you could cut over to the monitors. Awesome. So in the past, we used to do marketplace content release updates in blog form every single week to show you everything that has come out for that week. In the future, we're going to have John Jones actually dial in and give us a quick update, just a couple minutes. But for the blog, you're going to see things more rolled up over the months. So it's just a lot richer in here. I'll kind of scroll through and you can kind of see. There's a ton in here, right?
Yeah.
Like, I won't be able to highlight them all every time that way, but John should be able to do a lot of that for us. Anyway, this way I keep a little bit of the blog a little bit neater, and it's kind of like this really great monthly roll-up digest. You can see all kinds of great things. So.
And this is a really good one. Very nice.
Yeah, it's very clean. I'm a big fan. All right, so sorry about that. I know you're gonna you're really gonna miss me mispronouncing a whole lot of European names, but that is okay with me, I do believe. All right, so also earlier this week on Tuesday, 4.9 Preview 2 dropped for all you early adopters out there. I say early adopters because, as everybody should know by now, it's probably a fairly broken build since you're taking a lot of the brand new functionality and things that we've added.
Yeah.
But week over week, we end up getting quite a few bug fixes in that you guys have found, that we've found over the time. So you can give us feedback on all those features now.
Yeah, just comparing Preview 1 to Preview 2, massive difference.
Yeah, if we hop in here and just take a look at the update that Steven gave us.
Thank you for logging in, Alexander Haskell.
You are welcome. And will it jump down? And maybe not. All right, so I'm going to do it myself. I know this is super awesome. You guys might. I was really hoping to watch Chance scroll through the forums today.
Oh, man. Exciting scrolling action.
Dreams do come true. Great.
Oh,
so Preview 2. Here's just the bug fixes that made it into Preview 2. There's a ton. I'd read them off, but then hilarious, right? Anyway.
No, we'll read the entire list right now. Go.
Yeah. And back to the front of this thread on the forums is the actual full list of known issues and things we're working towards 4.9.
Yep.
Real quick on 4.9, it's not too far away. I'm hoping to get Nick Pinwarden and Ray Davis back on here in a couple weeks. Ray might be on a plane, but they have Wi-Fi, so we can Skype him in and make it super awkward for the people next to him.
Yeah, that would be really great.
Yeah,
like the crying
great.
baby in the background and some other random stuff going on. Yeah,
It's going to be good. So 4.9 is going to be great. It's been a while since we've actually had a full-on release, I guess right before E3, and yeah, lots of great stuff heading your way. So check that out if you want to check it out. Don't if you don't. All right, next week we are kicking off the August Game Jam. If anybody's new to the stream, every second week I believe we kick off a 3-day or 3.5-ish day Game Jam over the weekend that we give out epic prizes for all the winners and stuff. We had 42 last week or last month.
Yeah,
there was a lot of really great, a lot of really great submissions for Rocket and Roll. We're kicking off the next one next week. And yeah, so you'll see more announcements about that. We can't wait to see what everybody comes up with. There's been a lot of hundreds of games made in the last year, and lots of great concepts. We've actually got October will be the 1-year anniversary. And
that's going to be the big one.
Yeah, Alexander mentioned it last week, but we're hoping to blow it up a little bit bigger this time.
It's going to be really big.
We got some tricks up our sleeve. I don't know. We'll see what we can pull off. But if you've been interested in checking it out, please do. It really just costs just your time over the weekend to check something out. We'll highlight your game on the stream afterwards, or afterwards on the next stream, and the October one is going to definitely be one you want to be a part of. So
yeah, got some good swag set aside.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
Good swag.
All right, and then we have a new Gamescom playlist on YouTube. It's really just 2 videos at this point, but we've got a really great, kind of a bio piece on Hellblade from Ninja Theory. There's just a really, really fantastic looking game. We really can't wait to see what it does once it actually hits. But I got a chance to chat with the team. We're back out at E3. You can hit that interview on here too. It kind of talks about the theme of psychosis, but it's a beautiful game. This is the visual storytelling of Hellblade. So if you're interested in what Ninja Theory is doing, I mean, they've always put out incredible games with fantastic stories like Enslaved. I mean, Heavenly Sword. I mean, this guy team is incredible. So definitely check that out. Went up just today or yesterday. I haven't even seen the final yet. So
I was watching this thing like 2 or 3 times this morning.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And then on that too, we got the video that you just watched at the beginning of the stream. This is just our Gamescom reel, a sizzle reel. You know, we'll refresh these every so often. This one has got a lot of newer games that have either been not announced or very recently announced in the last, I guess, week, 2 weeks to months, whatever. And so you'll see a lot of really great games, like Ashen, this first one up here that was, announced at the Xbox press conference at E3. We had Derek on the stream when we were at E3 too. So check that out. All kinds of great things being made in the engine. And then before we cut over from the news to Community Spotlight, a couple more quick things. If you were at Gamescom and you got out to our mixer last night.
Thank you.
Shelly, we're tiny. Yeah, there we go. No worries. That's cool. I like being small sometimes. It's fine. No, you're good. So if you were at Gamescom, you came out to a mixer last night. The team was like really excited to meet you all. If you didn't make it out, make sure in the future you keep an eye on our forums, on our blog, and our social, because we're always talking about little things we're doing, where we're going to be available at all these conferences. Chances are, if we are somewhere, there is an outlet for you to find us in some capacity, especially at larger, development events like GDC.
Yeah, there's generally either a blog post or something. Also, check out the forums event, the subforum for events, because that's where you're going to find a lot of other smaller events too. So.
Yeah, it's where you find your Twitch streams and game jams now, your virtual events. We have all of our actual on-the-ground events there as well too. Even user group meetups.
Yeah, user group meetups.
More on that later as well. But also in events news, SIGGRAPH is next week. We're actually working on a blog. I think Dana is writing it right now to get up about our involvement at SIGGRAPH. There's a lot of talks that a lot of the developers here do.
There's going to be a lot done.
Especially the rendering guys. I'm gonna sit in on one of the.
I was asking them who all in the rendering team is going? Yes.
Yeah, they're just sending them.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
I'm sitting in on somebody's rehearsal later today. I'm really excited for it. I wish I could make it out there, but if you're out at SIGGRAPH, like I said again, there's going to be places to find us. And on that note, if you were at E3 and you saw the Indie Mix, it's the Media Independent Games Exchange that they had on top of the Grammy Museum. We've actually got a few Unreal Engine games that are going to be in their booth on the floor at SIGGRAPH. So if you're at the show, look out for all the information, where you can find us, where you can find Unreal Engine games. We'll be all over that thing. Last little bit of news here. Unreal Dev Grants announcements are coming soon. There's been a number of teams that have been reached out to already, but we're not really quite ready to.
You know who you are.
Yeah, to bring it out to the rest of the world. So keeps the great submissions coming. We're burning through them. We're finally getting caught up to an extent too, which is really great. So this is really great. I'm excited at a lot of these teams that are lumped into this one. Are
somebody spent a lot of time cranking through a lot of these and going through a lot of emails.
You know, when you have a baby and it's like 4 in the morning, you can just kind of work
what
through
do
a
I
lot
do?
of this too, right? Like what else am I going to do with one hand? I can just type things and figure it out. Anyway, so let's hop over to the Community Spotlight. Shelly, I think there's a video on the very first one. If you got it. You can go ahead and kick it. We'll talk over it.
It's a bathroom.
Yeah. So the first up, we have a bathroom. Hooray! Everyone's favorite room. Now, this is MA/AR Digital, and Alex brought this up to me earlier today, and we were chatting about it. I was like, "Oh, it's cool." It's,
it's pretty okay.
VisArc.
Yeah, VisArc stuff.
Yeah. So architectural visualization. We're like, "All right, this is neat." Then after the fact, he was showing me that they're actually running this on a NVIDIA Shield tablet. So
not 100% if this exact video is the tablet. There's another video where he's showing basically this, but on a tablet.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, good use of reflections and shadows, and great geometry in here too, lighting, all the great things you want to see in architectural visualizations. By the way, I can't wait to see what comes of Vineyard. I've seen some more screens of some of those that are rolling out. I know y'all talked about that last week, but
Wythe has already been showing off some pretty neat stuff. So
yeah, you can have this because you get the next one. There you go. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, MAAR Digital, and they've got a lot more work on their site as well, but Alex has got it. Oh, there actually should be open on the bottom already.
Oh, okay.
I just minimized your.
I see what you did.
Yeah, I had to work on stuff too, man. Roll all the way left. No, it's on this one. I split them up for you. Roll all the way to the left tab on this guy.
You're killing me. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Can I cut?
Kill that.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So here's the.
So
this is the actual.
Great.
Shield port.
Here's a thread from user SCERNE, of course.
Yeah, everything wants to pop up at once. All right, yeah. So
You can roll through, check out some pics in
cool
here.
pics.
And
Then there's the video, and then there's a dude on here.
Yeah.
We're not going to play through that.
yeah, we
but
spared you the whole man poking around with
just like
digital
a lot of
thumbsticks for a
touching
minute
the
and a half
screen.
video. But if you want to opt in and check that out, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
nifty.
and the developer is actually, or the artist, I should say, not really developer, is active in that thread, chatting through a lot of those other things as well. So, what do we got next?
Jeff LaMarche of this is the guys that are doing Republic.
Martian Craft.
Yeah, the Martian Craft doing all that. So they have a really Jeff put out this amazing new kind of plugin that adds components that you can use for gesture recognizers for your mobile stuff, and look at component and
movement. Yeah.
What this does is you just kind of like select an actor, and then you say, this is the thing that looks at another thing, and it constantly faces whatever that is, and you can use it for a lot of stuff. Really nice.
It's a little bit more modular than if you have to write it yourself, right? And Jeff's been working in the mobile and Mac space. It's mostly Apple anything. Jeff's been developing it for years. We had him on the live stream.
Yep.
The Martian Craft guy is back, I think, in February or March.
Yeah, to talk about
And they talk about a bunch of that stuff too.
that,
Yeah. So Jeff, is engine contributor. You can find his stuff inside of the actual Unreal Engine binaries.
Yeah, and he's pretty active on this thread too, as you can see. Lots of people posting. So feel free to chat him up. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, Jeff's a great guy. And the next up is Noxygen. So yeah, this one just came up not that long ago. Alexander's like, hey, check this out. And I was like, whoa. Is that scripting inside of...
It's scripting and scripting.
Yeah, it's scripting inside of visual scripting, right?
So we're going all the Inception way here.
Yeah.
And so now we just need like one more scripting language within.
If somebody can read from a piece of paper in like vocally out from a script, and then it would write this Lua script. So this is Lua, basically. You can run these different functions or these bits of code that are actually Lua, and they'll execute at runtime whenever you want them to. Inside Unreal Engine. So if you like Lua, this might be something you want to check out. I used to program in Lua a long time ago.
Yeah, you used to be one of these guys, right?
Yeah, really lightweight language, but it's super powerful, and it's a kind of a bizarre mix of visual and actual written script. But sometimes you just want a block that you don't want to have to go code in C++ and then expose.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just gonna write my own little tiny script right here where I am. And I can't wait to check this out myself.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Noxygen is also, once again, another very active developer on this thread, and he actually just updated it so it works with Preview 2. So
with 4.9 Preview 2?
Yeah,
oh,
so
it's up
I
to
thought
date now.
I thought that was pretty nifty that he's actually keeping it up in the previews even. So
that's great.
Yeah, so check that out.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, for Community Spotlight, I'll remind again, it's been a while since I've been here, so I try not to beat on this drum too much. But if you want to be in the Community Spotlight, reach out to us in some way, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in the forums, whether it be our Instagram channel. Find us in some way and show us what you're working on. I can't tell you how many awesome projects that we stumble upon. I'm like, I wish there was a better way for you to find this.
If this guy had just PM'd
right?
me or emailed me, I would have been shouting it from the rooftops. Yeah,
and that's really great. So we love to see awesome things. All right,
cool.
With that, let's hop over to the meat of the conversation. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, sorry we've been ignoring you.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
We're learning a lot.
Yeah, all right, that's great. Good job. Yeah. So Rising Thunder, really awesome looking game. It kind of showed up out of nowhere at Evo this year. I'll be honest, I'm not the most knowledgeable in the fighting arena, mostly because the fighting games that I play aren't the ones that you normally see at competitions outside of Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is, that's one of those that you four guys on a couch or.
I have never heard of this game and do not understand how it works.
Right.
Chance, explain it to me.
No, it's fine. But where I can reach over and punch the guy or any of the people next to me, right? But when it comes
I'm
to
a Street Fighter 2 fan myself, so yeah.
No, I get destroyed. Pocket Fighter or one of those other ones that's just cutesy and fun. That's my background. Anyway, so it was announced at Vivo. It's coming from Radiant Entertainment. We've got, as mentioned, Seth Killian and Brock Feldman. Have both got some serious experience in the fighting genre over the last, I don't even know how many years. You guys have been at it for a while. But Shelly's going to go ahead and kick off the announced trailer so we can kind of get a quick bird's eye what the game's about.
Robots fighting.
Is sound coming? I just don't know. Great. No, sorry for the awkward about sound, y'all.
All right.
We get to watch this in silence. It really goes to show though what sound design actually does for impact, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Sign up at risingthunder.com. Dun, dun, dun. So great. So let's So hi Seth. Hi Brooke. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. I mean, you guys are working on this fantastic looking game, fantastic playing game. Alexander's actually got it loaded up here. He's gonna be playing
right here
while we chat. But yeah, I mean, so you guys have been working with fighting games for a long time. Like, tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Okay, I'm about to get destroyed.
Yeah, I don't even really know where to start. I've been playing fighting games since I was a wee lad, running out of quarters in the arcades, and I really bonded to fighters because I was like, if I just get good at this one, I only need 1 quarter, and I can just keep playing on 1 quarter, and other people will feed the machine. So I was really in love with Street Fighter from first sight, and my own path. I was in academics. I was a professor of philosophy.
All right. It's a natural progression, right?
Yeah, and then I had like a special red phone on my desk. It was like a hotline to Capcom. That wasn't, but one day I got a call from Capcom because in the time I'd been, becoming a philosophy professor, I'd also been a competitive fighting game player, and I started organizing events, which eventually rolled into Evo, which you guys know a little bit about. And so I got the call from Capcom and basically was invited to flush my 10 years of school down the toilet to go make video games. And that video game was going to be Street Fighter 4, and that was, a chance I just couldn't pass up. So much to the chagrin of my family and academic community, I decided to take a trip out to California and make some fighting games, or at least try and make them as good as we could, because it was a genre that I loved just a lot and had been kind of on the slide for a little while.
Yeah.
It hadn't been quite what it used to be in terms of popularity. So did that for a while. Was at Capcom for, I guess, almost 6 years. Did a lot of great games there with, of course, the Street Fighter 4 series and some work on the Marvel versus Capcom games.
Oh, right on.
And then went over to Sony, take a little break from fighting games. Worked on PlayStation All Stars with Brock for a little while.
Yeah.
But also a lot of sort of more unusual indie games, and but that whole time I was sort of stuck with this thought about fighting games, and felt like they're in great hands, and I think a lot of the people making fighting games today are doing some of the best work that's been done in a very long time on them. But the thing that always sort of bothered me was, these games are just really hard. Like, even for me, like a new fighting game. I've been playing fighting games for 20 years. Chance talked about, well, I play mostly like maybe a Smash or something like that.
Right.
Because that's the kind of game you can get into a little faster, and you don't have to really feel scared of the controls.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess the question in my head, which, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, everyone would have told you this is the stupidest idea of all time. But I was like, can we make like a real core fighting game, like just a hardcore, serious fighting game, but one that, we just give you the moves. We just let you do the special moves with the tap of a button, or a button in a direction, or a hold down the button, or something like that to get a little more variation. But basically that was my concern, was that this is, to me, like one of the most amazing genres, like in all of games, but it's just closed out to so many people who try and play it, because they, it basically is asking you as a player to play for about at least a month, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, to grind special moves. And at that point, you're not like, now you're an amazing player. No, now you're like at the ground floor, being able to play the game.
Oh,
and so I was like, there's got to be, is it possible to make a serious game, and just sort of set that stuff to the side, where we put in all of the sort of the zoning and the footsies and the mind games, and we get to that stuff that we really think is, just the best part of fighting games.
Yeah.
And when you watch a really amazing match of fighting games, it's always about the mind games, and I knew that you knew that sort of stuff is the real genius at the heart of the genre. And can we bring that out without asking people to invest 6 months before they can even really evaluate the game and
Yeah.
they can even really do their moves.
Yeah, and it's like a card game or like chess, right? Like you want to be able to, but it's a lot faster paced because
Yeah.
you're seeing it all in real time and making assumptions. And if your predictions were right, you both know at that moment that, oh my God, that guy just outsmarted me, as opposed to just out comboed me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's it. And we've really been trying to like to be honest, we didn't know if this would work. Like we had this was sort of the theory, like, is if we just let people have access to these awesome moves without, asking them to practice them for months and months, maybe they can just sort of figure out the rest. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, it's been absolutely amazing watching people that have never played a fighting game before, don't even really know how to block, don't know anything about a quarter circle forward or anything like that. We just give them the game and put it in their hands, and they go from totally clueless and just sort of mashing the fastest attack button they can to genuinely like making really interesting moves. We were watching a live stream like 3 days after the game launched, and we have a guy in our office who's not only not a fighting game player, I mean, he's mostly like kind of a Candy Crush kind of man, if you will. That sort of sets the bar. He's been playing with us. He's one of our newer networking hires, and he's been playing with us for about 4 or 5 weeks for about an hour a day.
Wow.
And he took one of the best players. We've got a lot of pros that have been online playing as well, which is really messing up our matchmaking. But
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, yeah, we've got a lot of fighting game pros up there. But I was watching one of the pros streams, and this guy popped into the stream randomly, our friend David, and he took one of the greatest pros the full distance just playing this game. He took him to the last round, and it turns out David's just a really smart guy. Like, he's really able to understand the essence of the game and to sort of play mind games, but he just could never throw a fireball or do an uppercut motion.
Right.
So to see that is super validating, and since that time we've seen hundreds of testimonials from other people that we don't know, basically saying the same kind of thing, that this is the first time they feel like they can actually understand and learn from their mistakes. And yeah, it's been super exciting, and the demand has been to the point that we actually have to sort of hold people away and sort of let them in waves to make sure our servers don't melt down.
Oh, wow.
No, well, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
This is one of those games too. I took a look at, right, like so I played a lot of fighting games in the past, and I'm terrible at Street Fighter. I'm terrible at games that rely on a lot of heavy combos, a lot of quick thinking when you're trying to dodge all of Chun-Li's kicks, at the same time, and like those kind of things. But I say like games like Smash Brothers, or even some of the older Tekkens that seemed a little bit more basic, and those I really clung to, except for you talk about that level of, okay, you've sunk X amount of hours into it to you kind of feel like you're at least adept enough to play other people and not feel like a complete idiot, but still you're just scratching the surface, because if you accidentally get matched up with a pro somewhere, there's no game for you. You have nowhere to even play. This is something that I'll actually like happily dive into and spend a considerable amount of time on, right? Because it is less about that. It's less about mastering those combos and those long runs of juggling and this and that. It seems very much like it's I don't know. It's almost like sword fighting, right? Like I think of Chivalry sometimes too, when you get face to face with somebody in that game, and it's about that dance real quick before and you're dead, and I move on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's definitely the idea, and there's still a lot to learn in the game, but we want to put it together in a way that lets people learn it for themselves, because that's also the joy of like deep and interesting games, is having those sort of aha moments and those discoveries, like for yourself, and learning at your own pace with players that are of sort of an equal skill.
No, that's great. So yeah, Brock, you as well. I mean, you've been doing gameplay programming and all kinds of work on fighting games for a while now, right?
Yeah, and I had a similar story to Seth, I think, just playing them my whole life, except I was never any good. So constantly just beat by my friends, just for a long time. And it wasn't until 4 years ago that one of my friends was like, "Oh, you're holding the joystick wrong. Like that's look how you're holding that. That's just wrong." And that's when I tried to like actually learn fireballs for a long time. Went into practice mode and like throw 100 fireballs, and if you miss one, start again.
Oh
Like,
gosh,
that sort of thing. And that was what
that sounds like
it took
work.
to get better. Yeah,
It's
no,
not games.
It was super work. And honestly, like we used to play, you know, in the office before we had our game working, we play fighting games after work every single day. And Brock just, you know, I'll try it.
Please,
Cordially,
please.
had essentially zero chance of beating me, like ever in a million years. So I was very good at fighting games. I gotta say, like a couple of weeks ago, Brock legit beat me in Rising Thunder. Like,
Nice.
and he outplayed me. You know, that was it. I made some bad decisions, and Brock punished him, and that's really what it's all about. And I just don't know if that would have been possible somewhere else. But yeah, we love serious games, and we wanted to make it serious. But Brock's been amazing.
Yeah, and so since I wasn't as good at them, I guess I was able to focus on making them.
Yeah.
And just trying to make just really good combat. So I've been focused on that for a long time. I think it was first on like Gauntlet 7 Sorrows from Midway, where I was actually working on combat systems and how players get from one move to another in the game and how that feels good. Right after that, I worked on TNA Impact for Midway as well, and that was on Unreal 3.
Right.
So using Unreal to once again like make a wrestling game, but it's all about punching people.
Yep. Well, that's all
and
wrestling
then-
is punching people. It's not,
Well,
and it's
and
real.
broken rawness.
And it's real.
Yeah.
It's like hug abuse.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Advanced form of hugging. Yeah.
Yes.
I have much respect for the guys who do that. They put their bodies through crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then so
Sorry, go ahead.
finally I got to work on All Stars, which was a lot more grounded in just being about combat, even though we had all the platforming and everything else in that too. But that was the first time that I actually got to go through and implement all the like really kind of hardcore fighting game systems.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah,
then
and
just-
there were a lot of characters in that too. Like, so you probably have to work on a bunch of different types of combat that has to balance against other types of combat, right?
We did crazy stuff. You know, we had like just random mini games, like from all other games. We had a first-person shooter mode in it. We had just all sorts of nutty things that all had to work together. And we were on a different engine that was really hard to do. So when I met with people about the engine from the engine team, I was like, look at Unreal. Look at these wonderful things that they do. Component-based architecture. It is fantastic.
Nice.
That is in fact the story of how we got to Unreal. We'd begun our prototyping on another engine, and we're, you know, facing various challenges. And it was GDC, I think, last year. And you heard the announcement that Unreal was you know, doing this thing that was going free, of course, full source, which was huge for us because we knew we were going to have to do a lot of very finicky, sort of frame by frame kind of real nitty gritty stuff. And
we weren't sure that the other engine was actually going to work for what we needed to do when we got down to the like frame perfect. Everything has to execute on this frame in this order. All the crazy low level logistics stuff.
Especially online, right? Like, I mean, this is so. Anytime you're working with multiplayer, especially over the internet, everything's got to have that lockstep performance, right? And so, like,
it's got to be so on point. I mean, fighting games, one way to think about them is it's a game type where the objective of the game, literally, I mean, we all just watched, you know, Summer Games Done Quick and watched all the speedrunners try and break the games and things like that. Fighting games is really, you're inviting your players to try and break your game.
yeah,
That is their objective. Like, find some bug or some little exploit or whatever to get the advantage you can over your opponent. And we know a lot of really good players who are really good at that. So it had to be incredibly on point, incredibly buttoned up.
definitely, yeah. Because if there's one, if you drop a single frame, or if there's one collision doesn't go, the entirety of the game's fidelity is gone, right?
Yeah, I mean, players can feel it, and you know, you start losing matches that you should have won because of our error. You know, that's something that's going to drain your patience really quick.
Absolutely. And so, what did you run into any like weird tech considerations doing that? I mean, doing a fighting game that requires that level of, you know, tight engineering over the web, right?
Let me. I'll give you Brock tell his story here, but he basically, as soon as we heard the announcement about Unreal's, new offering for Unreal 4, basically Brock went over to the Unreal booth at GDC and went through his own like little tournament style versus all the engineers who are at the booth, like asking them increasingly nerdy fighting game related questions. Like, okay, well, how would you handle tick order if we have two things happening on the following frame? And yeah,
it was very much when the announcement was made, I was like, don't worry, we're fine. Like it's not going to matter for us so much. But let me just go talk to the people at the booth.
Yeah.
And as I went through the booth, I was like, oh, like this is what good tools look like. This is beautiful.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Okay, but just wait 1 second. Let me talk to the animation people.
Yeah.
And I walk up, and they wanted to show. There's some amazing tools, right? The crazy blending, the animontages, everything like that's in there is really great. And I went up and I'm like, I don't care about any of that. I've got like 700 animations. I need to deal with like swapping in between like one to another and only playing between two. Like, what's the best way to do that? And I got really good responses to that. They're like, oh yeah, no, you could just use montages. And that's where we end up with it. We have a montage that plays in a single anim sequence for each of the moves.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then we have a blueprint that's driving that.
Yeah.
And basically it exposes, like, on every frame, the designers are allowed to put in what they want to have happen on that frame.
It's been a super powerful tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically at the end of that week of GDC, we had all basically come to the conclusion that we were going to throw out our entire existing code base and start over in Unreal.
Dude,
which is exactly what we did. And 13 months later, this game is out.
Yeah.
Man, that is awesome to hear. Yeah, that's one thing that, I've always really loved about what we do at GDC. It's like, these aren't just the people that we've got at the show that are running the booth. These are the engineers that have built every piece of this tool, right? From network engineers to people that are, the technical riggers that are writing the systems that handle every little low-level to high-level bits of animation, to the rendering guys. Like, those are the people that we've got, on the floor there. And, I'll even run into questions here at the office, and I've always got somebody to ask, right? Like, it's really cool to see tiny little changes happen that make the tool that much better. And I'm super glad that we're able to share it with everybody, and even with the source, right? Like as we make changes here, they just get dumped in at ASAP, right? So
yeah, and you can just pull everything off main real fast.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm glad you got some time to actually sit and chat with some people. So that's really good to hear. I'll have to tell the team that they're y'all are much appreciated, right?
It was 2 days straight. Just going from person to person.
He was actually kind of annoying. I was like, Brock. Like,
yeah, you gotta calm down, bro.
Yeah, calm down, man. Yeah, get kicked out of here.
Just one more.
He's like, it's like the Elite Four and Pokemon. You just gotta work your way through it all. No, you mentioned blueprints. What is your split, you think, on how much blueprint work you're using, how much code you're working? I'm sure a lot of the low-level stuff is like your networking is handled in code, but a lot of the actual gameplay stuff might be written in blueprints. Or what do you think there? How do y'all have that structured?
Yeah, we actually try to use as much blueprint as possible.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
So there's a base level version of our character in code that is mostly just things that we don't ever want someone to mess with.
Right. Yep.
Stay away, designers.
So,
yeah.
The way that a hit happens in the game is always going to be the way a hit happens in the game. There's a lot of variables that can tweak what happens during that point in time, so we expose all of those, but we don't allow you to change the way that a hit actually happens. Tick order, obviously is completely driven by code.
Yeah.
Right after that, we have what would normally be a code level class in Blueprint that our characters all derive from, that handles most of the logic, actually.
Okay. That's great.
All
So
the logic of choosing like what move to do next, all that is all in Blueprint.
and collision as well.
Yeah, all collision definition.
Awesome.
That's all done.
Man, that's great. And you're replicating it all, and it seems to be working really great. I was just watching this game. It feels great, right? Like,
I'm dying pretty bad. This guy's juggling me pretty good.
Is he?
Yeah.
Or are you just not good?
Well, no, I got him now. For some reason, he just decided to.
He's just giving you the belly, dude.
I think he's just
no big deal. All right, so.
So the way that we actually do online is through GGPO.
Okay.
Which our CTO wrote
Oh, right on.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Way
He
back
wrote
in
it
the
as
day.
basically a fan,
Yeah.
and it was so good that everybody who makes fighting games basically licensed it, and we've got a new implementation cooked up for Unreal
Yep.
4. We really sort of thought about that from, before we even really started coding, especially when we made the switch to Unreal 4. We knew we wanted this game to have just completely amazing online, and we're able to sort of build it around that expectation.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. It's really great.
I mean,
Yeah, that's where we had to do a lot of engine changes actually to get that.
Yeah. But
Right,
it all worked
yeah.
out great.
to make those two pieces come together. Well, yeah, that's great. I remember, when I was an old UE3 dev back in the day, I remember I wasn't a licensee of the full tech, so I was on UDK or the editor, and as great as Unreal Script was for the time, and Kismet for running sequences inside levels or whatever. There were sometimes things that I was just like, not having that lower level access was just. Trying to work around it was kind of a nightmare at times, but we always got it working. But with 4, it's like, oh, this needs to happen just a little bit different. I have the freedom to go in there and do it, and
It's so great.
it's actually made me a better programmer too, because I've had to relearn C++, and I can look back at like a nice clean code base, and I'm like, oh, this is how things happen. Great, this is what I should do. By the way, just full disclosure, I used to be a programmer. It's been way too long, so don't challenge me to my skills. Ray Davis, our general manager, and he's one of the ones that wrote Kismet with James Golding back in the day. We always joke about having a code off, and I know that he'd destroy me. So let me be
He couldn't possibly destroy you more than I'm getting destroyed in this
fully
game.
truthful there. Well, so yes, you're online, you're an alpha, and you're free to play.
Yep.
So free to play fighter online. That's pretty awesome. So I can go get the alpha, or is there like a wait right now for the alpha, or how are you guys taking signups?
We're about to let more people in again.
Okay.
But you can sign up at risingthunder.com.
Risingthunder.com.
You'll get a confirmation email, and hopefully in like a day or two, we're able to get another 10,000, 20,000 people in. But we've been sort of taking it in these waves to make sure that our servers are on point and can handle the load, and we can see how many people are playing online at what time, and just make sure that we have everything cracking.
Gotcha. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's really cool to see it announced. I've seen a lot of successful game launches or early access launches do a lot of things just like this. Like it's announced, and then you can play it in some fashion, like immediately. You can see everything about it. We talk about the Ark Survival Evolved team, right? They announced in May, and then early access launched in June, right? So I think that's
how we wanted to do it. Yeah, just not like make people wait. And the game sounds a little crazy, so like rather than argue with people on the internet about whether this can work, it's like, hey, just play it. And like, you're not gonna believe us. We can talk all day, and no one's gonna believe us that this game's gonna work. So you just gotta play it for yourself. And the response has been amazing.
What what do you mean arguing with people on the internet? You don't like that?
That's the problem, actually, is I love it.
Oh goodness!
The internet is way too big, so
it is.
I've got a game to make.
Ever growing, right? It's funny too. So you guys have been working on you've been working with fighting games forever, and that's the same thing with Radiant, right? Like weren't the co-founders there also heavily involved in Evo and everything?
Yeah, they're the Evo co-founders as well, so they love fighting games. They really understand them at a deep level. Again, like Brock mentioned, Tony invented the netcode that basically allowed fighting games to be played seriously online.
Gosh, that's great.
And sort of revolutionized the genre that way. So it's this wasn't an accidental team. We definitely picked the sort of our teammates carefully, people that would understand what we're doing and be excited about it, both as huge fans of the genre, as well as people who have the technical chops to get this done.
No, definitely. It seems like you've done that right. This is something that is it's really impressive. Like I said, just watching it feels great, right? It looks and feels great just being a spectator. And I think that in today's streaming market, I know that that's going to be a big thing. I know that people are already streaming this game. I'm just curious when the first tournament's going to be, right? Like, do you guys have any events on the plans or anything?
We will have some more announcements about that coming up pretty soon, actually. We're excited to try a couple different things. Right now we've only got ranked play up online because we really just wanted to test the online infrastructure. Our #1 request, of course, is for sort of lobbies so people can play with their friends without having to face the pool of sharks floating around in rank matches.
Right.
Totally understandable. We want to get that in, but again, this game was made by 8 people in just a little over a year.
Wow.
And that's why we were really honored to be here with you guys talking about Unreal, because we don't think that would have been possible with any other engine, and it really just made us able to prototype a bunch of crazy stuff. Even on my end is more in the design side, and I can have like some stupid idea, which are really important to fighting games, and I can try it. I can I can use some of the primitives and attach collision boxes and whatever, and try it in maybe 10 or 15 minutes, which is not too much time to spend on a really dumb idea. And then I can see like, oh yeah, this is horrible. Like, you should get rid of this. You made the dumbest idea ever. But it's like, okay, cool. At least I tried it. And yeah.
That could be our new slogan. Unreal Engine makes you try out your bad ideas quicker.
Yeah, I think that's super important for game design.
It actually really is. Yeah, the iterative process of throw it all to the wall and find the 5 things that stick, right? So
there you go.
Yep. Well, yeah, so your team structure, there's 8 people. I mean, like, are you guys, like, evenly split with artists, designers, coders? Does everybody kind of wear different hats? I'm sure you do at a team that size, right?
There's a little bit of different hatting, for sure.
Yeah.
But we have kind of, I guess you could say, like, one of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. We started with one of everything.
Yeah.
With like 6 people, and then added 2 more.
Yeah, we've been sort of slowly adding on to our, our online team, because the response has been so overwhelming that we know we need help and more networking engineers and things like that. But
the designers completely, I think there was 3 to 1.
Yeah.
3 designers, 1 programmer, which was me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nice.
It was great because they could go in with Unreal and actually prototype things out. So, like, each of our designers was basically a gameplay programmer. At any other place I've been, they would have been a gameplay programmer, but they're just able to do things that work 100% with our online infrastructure in game.
I would never call myself I would feel like a total fraud if I called myself a serious programmer in any way, shape, or form. But blueprints, they've been so easy for me to pick up and use that it just makes sense. And so we're able to try new things, and things that weren't necessarily intended or planned around as mechanics or whatever, we can sort of hack together really quick. And then if I need to ask Brock about like fixing it up or sort of making it into a real thing, he's able to understand what I'm going for in like a really short period of time, and I already have a working prototype.
Yeah, definitely. It's blurred a lot of lines for a lot of the people here too, right? Because artists are coming into blueprints. Programmers are building new nodes for designers and artists to use, right? Like I remember right when I was on the beta for UE4 a long time ago, even before I was at Epic, and I remember looking at it and going like, well, the tech artist, I guess, is the most powerful person in the studio now, right? Because they can make the art, they can make it look good, and then they can go make it work, right? And we're seeing more and more of these like smaller teams. 8 people is not a ton. We've got a lot of games being built by 1 or 2 guys, but a game that's of this scale of what you're trying to pull off here, what you are pulling off, not trying. This is fantastic. It's awesome that you have the ability to do it with such a small team. I think that in today's competitive risk and market, I think that's a very important thing, right?
Yeah, we knew the idea was kind of crazy in a lot of regards, and so being able to do it on obviously a limited budget and in a short time frame is critical, because if we'd spent, you could do something similar at a big studio. You spend 30, 50, $100 million trying something, then find out like, oh, the market has changed, or
right.
People are not into that anymore. Like that was cool like a year ago when you started. That's serious trouble. So we're really excited, and just feel excited about what the community response has been so far, and want to hold up and make sure we don't let any of those guys down, and just make the game its absolute best, because this has been just a total dream for us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I said, it's looking fantastic. I can't wait to. I'm gonna borrow Alexander's.
I just won.
Account. Did you win?
I've never won a game ever on the stream. Ever on for any game we've ever played. This is the first.
Oh,
this guy. Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Sorry, Husky Reds.
I'm so sorry, dude.
All right.
Much shame.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're on PC now. Is that kind of your platform target? Is the PC?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of questions from people who want to play it on a console, and that's awesome. I worked in the console world for a long time, and big fan of consoles, obviously.
Yeah.
But for PC, our real interest was just sort of total freedom.
Right.
We've got this engine that can do everything, and we want sort of an online publishing environment where we can make crazy changes to the netcode. We can make updates, as often or as infrequently as we want, and we can wait until we feel like the game is fun rather than trying to hit like a specific publishing date or something that we agreed to with a partner. So it's just hitting that, like, we want the game to be the best that it could possibly be without sort of any clouds hanging over our head or restrictions of any kind. And we didn't know when we'd be done or when we'd find like the fun core of the game or anything like that. So PC was just sort of the no compromises platform for us.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that it's really cool. I don't think I've ever played a fighting game on PC, but I know I will.
This is really difficult, actually.
Well, controller, man, you got to get the hori stick, dude.
Yeah, and then I ended up losing the final match.
Wait, what's that?
Dang.
You saved the. Oh yeah, so that's.
But that's just one match out of I didn't win the last one, so
Yeah.
I did end up losing in
Yeah,
total.
hey,
so
Seth,
still a streak.
Seth, if you want, I'll have Alexander sign that and mail it to you guys. So you can hang on.
Alex, the first time I ever won a round.
Oh goodness. All right. So we're getting a little close on time. We don't want to keep you guys up too much.
Yeah.
We got some questions in here. I'm sure some of these you might not be able to answer about some forward-facing things, but just wondering, like, did you guys use UMG for the UI?
Because this is some sweet
No.
pie.
No, did you write your own thing or is it Slate?
No, we're using Coherent.
Coherent. Okay,
Mm.
cool. Right on.
Yeah.
It looks really nice. And let's see. Can you do 2-player on the same PC, or is it online, or I guess one per machine only?
So yeah, I guess right now definitely not. And in fact, we're kind of building the game around that expectation. We're able to do some gameplay things that sort of haven't been seen before. If you build a game, this is game designery nerd, so I'll keep it quick. But if you have so in fighting games, of course, you're always playing close to each other. But if your screen is different than my screen, we actually display different things to both players. So your reaction to big hits is different on different screens.
This
But
actually
also
makes
gameplay
sense.
stuff.
Yeah, Crow
like-
Crow turns invisible, so that would be really terrible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's exactly what's going on. So when you're playing Crow, you can totally still see yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go invisible and you're like, I don't even know where I am.
Yeah,
but the
I
other
didn't even know you could
screen,
turn
he's
invisible.
totally invisible.
Cool.
So that's something we can do with the split screen, and we have more of those kind of ideas sort of coming down the pipe, because it's our chance to do something that hasn't really been possible in other fighting games before, and we're trying to look at that as an opportunity.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a really cool.
Yeah, there's one in here too about plans for more stages, new characters, and lore. I'm sure you're going to
Yeah.
grow the game, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got yes, everything. So we've been light on the lore a little bit, just because we knew the game development was so fast and our team is so small that we didn't have enough stuff to really support it. We want to try and do that justice, but absolutely there'll be more characters. We've been out for a week and already patched 2 new moves for 2 of the characters. We'll have some more new moves for existing characters coming out really soon. We'll see how the build today goes, but very, very soon. And of course, everybody's always excited about new characters, so we've got a bunch of those in the works as well, and plan to just sort of keep rolling them into the game so you can check it out for free. And even if you're away for a week or something, we hope we give you a reason to come back and try again. And you can combine all the moves in sort of unique ways too. So we're really excited about that variant system. And as more and more moves come online, you get just dozens up to 100 different confirmations of one character can be played in so many different ways, both in the game and then in terms of what moves you pick. So it gets really rich really fast.
Yeah, definitely. And then when you're playing against that person and all those things can be a possibility, you kind of do the whole iterative gameplay of, oh, I have to react to what the other character is revealing to me about his capabilities right now on the fly, right?
That's exactly, and those kind of mind games to us are at the very heart of what's interesting about fighting games. So we wanted to try and bring that forward. And you talked about them before as kind of a chess or like a speed chess almost, and we think of fighting games as exactly that, sort of mixed with elements of poker as well, all in a sort of a punching-based environment. But yeah, we got the poker, we got the speed chess, and we want to really try and bring those kind of elements out and enforce in the game rather than just spending time practicing weird motions.
Oh, sounds great. Got one in here about do you have any directly or direct other games that directly inspired Rising Thunder, like just out of the entire genre, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think I could be sitting here and say I'm not a Street Fighter fan.
Yeah.
From my very earliest days, and that was we've gotten a lot of interest from Smash Brothers players again, because who are smart fighting game guys, and have a lot of skill sets in the sort of the mental department of what matters in fighting games, but again aren't good with the quarter circle and that kind of motion, different kind of pretzel things. So we've had a lot of the Smash players coming over and playing our game, but for me, I was interested to try and make a game like the ones that inspired me always as kids. So for me, that's right up there. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was one of my favorite games.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
And that's very much at the heart of trying to get that feel and that kind of terror and exhilaration is where we're at.
Gotcha. That's great. This one, I'm not sure if you can answer it, but any estimated date on private lobbies?
Yeah, again, I've been hearing that question from a bunch of people who are getting it from different sort of our forums and Twitter and all that. So I don't have I don't know, maybe Brock would have a hard date. Yeah.
No.
So we don't have a hard date, and I will say certainly it's really high on our priority list. It's right up there with. So our first sort of week out of the gate, we spent time trying to track down weird bugs that cause disconnects, or I won the game, but it said I lost. Obviously, that's like poison to a game and feels real bad. So we're trying to swat all those things down, and as well as continue our development of new moves and new characters. So lobbies we understand people really want that.
It's the next priority.
Yeah, it's like right there. As soon as we're done squishing bugs, that's where our energy is going to go. But the only reason we don't want to give you an ETA is because we don't honestly know like how long it'll take us. So we don't want to promise anything we can't deliver. Yeah. But just know that it's important to us. Yeah.
Sounds about like Engine sometimes, right? People ask us,
When's 4.9 coming out? Soon.
When is Sequencer coming? It's like, well, we're working on it. We want to have it to you, but hopefully we'll have some more information from Nick when we get him here next week. So,
I think we need to trademark soon.
Yeah, soon is actually, if you look in the dictionary, it is an actual accurate measure of time.
Oh wow.
Right, yeah, it's professional. All right, let's see what else we got here. You have an expected link for the alpha phase.
Expected, wait, what?
Expected length for the alpha phase?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, in short. We kind of just want to let it rock. And, I mean, alpha is there because we know a ton of stuff's not done. We launched the game with characters that we didn't even finish the textures on the characters, but we're like, fun. Like, some of them aren't textured
alpha.
Yet, but people will have fun with it. So we'll keep all this stuff rolling as we go. But our plan is just to basically, I think we do have some milestones in mind for ourselves in terms of what we consider what a beta phase looks like. But ideally, we want to just leave the alpha online as long as people are interested in playing it, and just keep adding more stuff, more characters, more moves, more little improvements. Our UI is going to get increasingly better. There's a whole replay system we've got working. Right, Brock?
Working on.
Yes.
Yeah. Working.
It's great.
That's awesome.
So we just want to keep making what's there continuously better. And so we don't really think about it in terms of dates. So we'll eventually call it a beta, but if all goes well, this won't go offline. It'll just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, just go as it is, right? It'll be alpha until it's beta, right? Like it's just one of those things that you just kind of let it live, and collect feedback, add features as time goes on.
Sounds like you guys are familiar with development.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we could be.
Yeah.
Maybe something we're involved in. I don't know. All right, on. Let's see. Oh, this one's a cool one. What's the thought process that led to the design choice of hiding cooldowns from the other player? Which I think is really bizarre. It's really awesome, right? Like they can't see that like you see in an MMO or something. They have to keep those timings, right?
Yeah. So a lot of this is for us pretty experimental.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you saw Crow go invisible there on the feed. That's cool. If he's inside the bubble, he's visible. The design process on stuff like that is kind of we're in uncharted waters here, so we're interested in trying some different things out. And to us, it's interesting because it's a kind of thing that you can learn and master over time. Everybody's been playing the game for a very short period of time right now, but it is the kind of thing that with more experience, you're able to get a good sense of, maybe not exactly, but very close. So you get these really interesting kind of gameplay situations where it's like, I know how long that guy's cooldown is. I know he's within like about a second of getting his cooldown back.
Yeah.
So you get these sort of interesting pressure situations, but also just a little, I don't know what the, like, glaze of uncertainty where you're like, I'm not, I think his Dragon Punch is enough or whatever, but, you know, I'm not 100% that's the case. And so do I go in, do I not? And then, we think that's interesting. Maybe we're wrong. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to be looking at, players' feedback and performance, and whether it's a thing that they end up actually learning or whether it's, maybe a source of frustration for some. So we're still learning and we're still discovering. So we know quite a bit about these games, but we're doing a lot of things that are pretty new. So we're learning like everybody else.
Yeah. No, it makes sense too. It adds just one more of those, like, the senses of anxiety with the game too, right? You got to make those quick decisions on the fly and then kind of own them, right? Like if you're standing away and you're waiting for that cooldown, and you might be a split second wrong, but if you get it right or they get it just right, it feels so good, right? As the player that pulled that off. And that's what I found in fighting games that have always dragged me back to them, even though I'm terrible at a lot of the ones that have come out, like Street Fighter 4. You don't even want to see me play it, but Street Fighter Alpha 3, I think it was the last one that I really got into, and that feeling of I should not have made this. I was totally KO'd, and I did it because of this last little clutch moment. That is the feels, right? And I think that when you add those kind of things, extra layers of that anxiety, I anticipate it's going to be a good thing. But I don't know. We'll see, right?
We'll see, yeah, and we're excited to figure it out. So, with the feedback from players, but it is a thing you can learn, and it's another element of potential mastery. And so maybe it's too much to master in a week, but maybe a month from now, people's opinions will be a little different.
Gotcha. So I'm running through here. There's a couple on the financial model. Have y'all, since you're free to play, have y'all exposed any of that or talked about it yet?
Yeah, we like games, so the honest answer is we're still figuring it out as we go along. We're small and not smart about this kind of stuff. It's new to pretty much everybody on the team. We do have some strong ideas about it, and we have a lot of smart people who've given us good advice. But for us, the game from its inception has been about sort of, we think this is an amazing game type. How can we remove the barriers to competition?
Yeah.
How can we get more people into this kind of game and understand the magic at the heart of fighters? So the free to play for us is a big part of that, in making sure that it's possible for like the #1 player in the world, the world champion of Rising Thunder, to have never paid us a single dime. Is sort of where our minds are at. It's sort of like a benchmarking goal. And we look at games like League of Legends and Dota, where you can make a real business out of things like selling cosmetics.
Yeah.
And that's, if you have a fun game, people will support that and play it enough that you can make a business out of that. And if you don't, then I'm not sure you're necessarily, at least in my mind, you're not necessarily owed success if people don't want to support the game. So we want to make a game that's worth your time and that people will support, even on the cosmetic side, and even if they're never sort of forced to pay us money to play it.
Definitely, it's one of those that it's intrinsically fun, and that's why people care about it, right?
So that's what we got to make, or that's that's what we're setting as the goal for ourselves.
Gotcha. All right, I can probably grab a couple more. We're running a little short on time on our end here, but let's see. Oh, any plans for, or is it implemented for things like visible damage? It would be super easy with tools like Substance or any of the blending things you can do inside the material editor. It's more of a art visual
so
type
visual
thing.
damage
Yeah.
on the actual mechs.
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
A few times. Maybe we will.
Right on.
Like Seth was saying, some of our characters aren't even textured yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great. Yeah. See,
So-
you can't show damage until you have a material, right?
Yeah, I think our artists are the most underwater.
Yeah, our artists are. We have a lot of extremely hardworking people here,
Yeah.
to say the least,
Yeah.
to pull off where we're already at. But we do feel excited that the reaction has been strong enough that everyone just wants more and better. But I do think, showing things like damage and whatever is a cool direction to go. And, we want to make the visuals as, with no apologies, just the best we possibly can.
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll just keep ramping up as we go on.
Our shader guy here is amazing. So
No, that's
Yeah.
that's great. Well, the game looks awesome. I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah,
with
it's so
the PBR
gorgeous.
shading here, like in the lighting, it's a, like I said, it's a fun game to watch, and it's a beautiful game to watch. It's not just like I really enjoy watching a lot of older games too, right? That don't have a level of high graphic level of fidelity. But this is one that I could just watch, robots beat the crap out of each other probably for hours. So even when we're done here, I'll probably just stay work, and I'll have Alexander lose a few more times. And then we'll go. And then we'll go
I
back
haven't
to
seen
it.
you play a game yet. Let's see.
No.
Oh, what's that?
No. I don't have an
Chance's
account.
weakness.
I'm not on the alpha.
I have an extra alpha code,
No, you-
actually.
okay.
So I think that's not an excuse anymore.
All right. So
And this is why fighting games are awesome. So thank you. Right, the trash talk
yeah,
has
yep.
already begun.
yeah, oh yeah. And so I probably grab one more here, and then we're gonna have to wrap. But let's see.
All right.
Most of these you've answered in one way or the other that I've got left. Do you have any idea of the amount of characters you'd like to have in the game? I know you're still kind of super early at this point, but have you shared any information about that, or do you have any kind of gut feelings?
I mean, we have, I think, probably 6 or 7 now prototypes in development. But that's just sort of, those are ideas that we've had that aren't finished. There's definitely sort of no hard limit on the number of characters we want to have in the game. We understand that people can be potentially fatigued by a gigantic cast or be like, I have no idea what's going on with this guy or something like that.
Right.
So that's something we'd like to avoid, but I think we're a long way away from any risk of that. So it's, again, that's a super realistic question, and if we had a fixed budget and a publisher and whatever, those are questions we'd have answers for.
Yeah.
But we're just making it up as we go along, and that includes the game. So we're just going to keep firing off characters for as long as we can and have an audience that wants to play them.
Yeah.
So there's definitely no upper limit right now, and we want to get more in soon.
No, that's great. Yeah, and I think that, it being the way you've got it now in alpha and kind of iterating until it's just no longer alpha, you'll probably do a lot of those kind of balances and understand player behavior. Because so we talked about earlier, when people have different moves, you want to take I am player, or I am character X going against character D. My strategy is to defend against character D or fight character D will be different than character A, right? And so if you have like a list of 50 different types of characters, you have to master them to be able to play against them, right? That might be something that might be, like you said, a bit of player fatigue at that point.
Yeah.
I won, by the way.
What's that?
Like a complete
we were-
match.
Brock
Yeah.
was noticing that.
I was that last round was so intense. But by the way, I've never actually played Crow, or I only played like a bit of Edge before, but I played Crow for the first time, and you all just watched me learn and then win a match with Crow. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, so that's how fast it is to learn.
I will get you a medal and a trophy.
Thank you.
You're
I will
welcome.
hold you to that.
You will.
So,
All right.
yes.
And on
You're
our
my
end,
boss, I
we'll
have to hold
work on
you.
improving that match
yeah.
result screen there. I know
Yeah.
it's a little underwhelming for all that work.
Yeah, it's funny because Shelly's just leaving it up there, so
Yeah, I know.
she can digitally let him rub his.
Like,
rub
I don't know if you guys can
his
see.
face
I'm
around.
actually kind of shaking there. Yeah. All right,
All
I'm
right, well,
done.
so,
I'm done
yeah.
basking.
Sounds good. Well, really appreciate you guys coming on and chat with us. We're super excited about the game. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything? I mean, we can go sign up for the alpha right now on the website, but anything else about the development you want to tell to developers, or at the same time to gamers, and anything about what's next for you guys in Rising Thunder?
For me, this has been a dream for a long time, and obviously I'm surrounded by super talented friends. But you can do it. The time's never been better. You have a completely world-class tool at the tips of your fingers right now with Unreal 4, giving you full source for the low cost of zero. So it's really up to you to go out and figure it out and try and chart your own destiny. And I'd encourage people to do it because it's a hard road and it's got a lot of risks, but it's good for your soul. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, even the engine changes that we made to it, like none of those would get in the way of actually making this with Unreal. We did it because of choices that we wanted to make, but the way Unreal is set up is perfect to do any sort of like heavy combat game. It's really great. It took us 4 months to get all the designers on from when I started working on this, just kind of by myself to like port over a fighting engine to when we had 3 designers actually working like full time on characters in it. So
Awesome.
it's pretty great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we're glad that you're finding success with the engine. For us, this is why we do this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like we're happy to be able to provide the tools for you, and really stoked about the game. So everybody, audience, all you'll probably see a lot more, notifications and news that we'll be kicking out about Rising Thunder over the time.
And I think I'm probably going to spend a lot more time trying to master a game,
Yeah.
which isn't me. That's not like a thing that I do is like play a lot
watch
of games.
his Twitch
so.
stream. He'll probably just be doing this forever.
Yep, I've got to go pro now. I'm quitting my job. I'm sorry, Chance.
So yeah, you should follow Seth and Brock on Twitter. Is it at Rising Thunder?
at Rising Thunder would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So check out more about the game. Well, I'm gonna take your account and play now. So.
Oh.
With that, that's a wrap. We're gonna have to come back next week. We've got Tuesday, the continuation of the Match 3 series on the training stream. Lauren is gonna show up and show how we created the art and implemented it there. Thursday, we've got the team from Uppercut that's just released their game Submerged. So they're gonna dial in from Australia.
Was that an Australian accent?
No, it wasn't. At like midnight their time or whatever. It's like 2 in the morning. So
yeah, it's going to be great. They're going to be
sorry
tired.
And then, as mentioned earlier, we've got Nick Penboard, and I'm going to try to drag on here to talk about 4.9 very soon.
If we can get into his busy schedule.
Yep, if we can get a busy schedule. So, Dana, thanks for hanging out in the chat.
Thanks, Dana.
Radiant team, Brock, Seth, really great to get to chat with you today, and I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch. Alexander, thanks a lot, dude.
Yeah.
You're the man. Shelly, you the woman.
Number one.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.